Thank you for listening to the TTalks.net podcast, the show that brings you information, guidance, and support to entrepreneur-minded individuals like yourself. TTalks.net will give you something to talk about tomorrow. This isn't the daily show, but this is the show where you'll get everything. You'll get a fiesta of a mix with the old and the new. They will give you tips and insights into everyday business, big wins in everyday life. They have a lot to add, from bookkeeping to sales, sales management, and sales training, and daily content for listeners to learn and enjoy. We are here to improve your life and business or a sales career. Without any further ado, introducing the dynamic duo, Alex DeLuca and Rafael Rodriguez Jr.
Man, oh man. Once again, we are back live. T-Talks, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, it's been a couple weeks of new and improved ideas, and, just been so darn busy, anxious to get back on and say hello, everyone. How you doing, Ralph?
I am doing fantastic. Having the time of my life.
The time of my life, right? I am awesome. As we know, I'm back in South Florida, rocking and rolling, never stop, never missed a beat. It is 10:01, 10 p.m. on the dot. The show kicked off. It's just like the good old days. What was it? Just a month ago, we were doing this, 3, 4, 5 nights a week.
That is correct. And again, we're back at it, and we're looking forward to, even if we help that one individual and they prosper, that's good for me. I don't know about you, but that's good for me.
Look, we started this show, and the main thing was, it was COVID. It was post-COVID times. Things were tough. The world's going crazy today. We were used to seeing new faces on a daily basis, teaching, training, motivating new faces on a daily basis. And, it was just, it went from a thought to an idea to live in less than a month. And yeah, that's it. One person, every show. If you can learn something, take something, whether it's the accounting information we've went over. How many episodes we have, Ralph?
About 49.
So it's about 49 episodes. If you go back on whether it's Spotify, YouTube, or Facebook, there's ton of free information. That's what it's for. And if you can't tell, it's an old guy and a young guy, and we're pretty passionate.
Wait a minute, who's the old guy?
I don't know. What do you think over there, old man? So there's a ton of topics to talk about. But let's since this is kind of a welcome back, Carter type scenario, tell us a little bit about you, Ralph. Dive into it, a quick bio. This is a half hour, 45-minute show. So quick bio, experience, where did it start and where you're going, and you don't have to say your age.
Well, you keep calling me old man. Anyways, thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rafael Rodriguez, and I have been in the accounting world, human resource world, in the sales world, construction industry world, restaurant industry. I'm a writer. I have a couple published books, and I'm somewhat scholar, and I have a couple degrees and my MBA, and working on my doctorate degree as we speak, just for fun.
Yeah. I'm working on my doctorate just for fun. Well, that is a hell of an intro. I don't know if you're a fan of golf, and I don't know. I think it was like the U.S. Open. I don't know, maybe 8 years back, and Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods are on the tee box, and they're like, the announcer was talking about Tiger Woods at the time. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, now stepping to the plate, the 9-time winner of this and the 4-time winner of that, and that winner. And Phil's like, all right, enough already. But Rafael, the credentials to last a list, right? And the experience to kind of throw at us here and there. But, thanks for that, Ralph.
No problem. Anytime.
Lovely. So that is Ralph. He's a guy on the other side of the screen. We're actually in the same, part of town now. I'm in Plantation here in Hollywood. We're a little bit closer. So it's that South Florida vibe all over again.
Don't you love it?
I love it, man. I was down at Gables twice the past week. Seeing Miami, it's electrifying to say the least. Oh man, and that's just you clicking that button reminds me. We couldn't even get these microphones on when we first started. Like going online and just learning how to use Riverside, podcasting live from across the state. It's all fun stuff. Ralph, what do we have in tune for today's Tea Talk
Well,
topics?
I think that it's always relevant to use what's going on, and we just went through the tax season. I mean, June, actually May 17th was the deadline. We still got some strugglers. We got some people that are still trying to get some SBA loans. We also went through a very unfortunate situation where we had a client that actually got hacked, and I don't know. Current events tells you about the Colonial Pipeline, how security. I mean, they're a $500 million company,
Phew,
and they
that's
got hacked.
unbelievable.
They got hacked, and basically some outsider took control of their business to the point where, I mean, nothing was nothing was passing through, and you put that into perspective, and we deal with a lot of mom and pops, but these guys are out there. They're looking for any opportunity, and they really don't know if they hit the jackpot or not. So, you know, they'll keep trying and
Hmm.
keep sending emails to see if you open, and they'll try to steal your information and try to get money from your bank account and cash and whatever they take your credit card. And I don't know if you've gone through any situation where a couple $1,000 shows up on your credit card and you're like, well, I didn't do this. And then now you
What?
gotta go and call the credit card company, cancel all your cards, and go through the whole motion. So I do want to talk a little bit about that, and make everybody aware that there are certain things that you should do to safeguard your business and your livelihood.
You know,
And
you can't say it enough. Like your business and your livelihood. It's kind of one and the other right there. But the security and being backed up and 100%. We went through real life experiences with that happening. Out of X accounts, how many accounts weren't backed up correctly? You think, and that was on them. You think there's about 5 or 6 that got hit pretty hard?
yeah, I mean, we don't get to hear it too much. All the people that get hacked, because how many people you think stands up and raise their hand and says, "Yeah, I got hacked." I mean, I really don't think people out there are saying I got hacked or I got scammed, because they. I mean, how embarrassing do you think it was for the IT guy from Colonial Pipeline? What do you
Mm.
think? Or imagine that they're paying a company, their security company, millions of dollars or whatever, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and this is what they run into. I mean, do you think they might get fired?
It's not going to look good on the resume, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. Um, and then we just had our tax season, and I can tell you about stories about people. You know, it just record keeping of your business is almost like record keeping of your car. Okay,
Isn't
if
that
you
the
want
truth?
that car to last a long time, then you need to make sure that you're doing the maintenance. Imagine if you and we talked about this and many times, but imagine you go on the road and you don't check your gas gauge, and you just say, you know what, I'll just keep going until it stops. What about if you
Hmm.
stop, 100 miles from a gas station, and then what?
What are you going to do now?
What are you gonna do
What are
now?
you going to do now?
You know,
you know,
we talked about COVID-19, how things are moving from being there to being online, and
Isn't that the truth?
how that internet presence and the internet reputation and how people perceived you. You know, you no longer are having a first impression. That first impression is when they're looking up yet to think about possibly using you. That first impression now becomes your website.
It's you know, and at first impression, whether it's at what level, it's so important. It's face to face, your websites, you know, you're in person, you're over the phone, whatever it is.
Well, and what it is, like I said, is that we have transitioned to being online because we have been cooped up into in front of a computer for the last year. You know, from people working behind a computer. You know, people weren't going out. You still were getting work done, but realistically speaking, you know, people are getting accustomed to. You know, I can easily say a year ago, a lot of people didn't know Zoom or didn't know how to navigate Zoom, and now they're
Oh my
expert.
God. Remember the stock when COVID first started with Zoom? Oh, Jesus.
Oh
That was
yeah.
amazing.
Well, and Netflix they picked up, and Disney they picked up a whole bunch of stuff. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people a lot of people took the opportunity, they seized the moment, and
Hmm.
really, you know, you had the opportunity to either shine or go down.
Carpe diem, seize the day.
So a lot of people just took, you know, they took the opportunity to make something out of nothing.
You know, and that's huge. We talk about at the beginning, COVID, everything's going online. It's even more online. That's the storefront. Check out your website. You know, we're working on Run right now to make it look more friendly. Going back to the Hack-a-Shack news, but 4 days ago, EA Gaming, biggest giant, hacked and source code was stolen. There's been numerous Russian attacks that everybody's saying this, that, and the other. You heard about the attack not only on the pipeline, but the food. What was it? The meat distributors as well. McDonald's suffers a data breach in the U.S., Taiwan, and South Korea. That was just 3 minutes ago. It's a pretty new article. It happened actually on June 11th. Article was created just recently, but it's just crazy, you know, to see this happening. You know, we hear it. The next World War III is going to be some type of impulse magnetic. Who knows? It could be a complete hack of the internet. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the internet world, and that's where we are right now. Now, Ralph,
We are in the
our faces, our content, most of our beautiful faces, we're sharing it with the internet as we speak.
All right, so yes, we talked about, you know, we talked a little bit about accounting. We do want to go back into the hacking and the things that you should do to ensure that you're not a victim. We want to talk about your digital presence, your first impression, and why is that important. And I think that you know, last but not least, we want to talk a little bit about the SEO, and we definitely got to put in a couple plugins for our sponsors, and you know, we take it from there.
No, definitely a couple sponsors. Who are our sponsors for today's show, Ralph?
Well, as always, digitalmasterscompany.com, digitalmasterco.com. They are your one stop shop for all your digital needs.
And we picked up, yes, Digital Masters. We have the remotebookkeepers.com. Their team is waiting to tackle any accounting needs. We have a home improvement companies, Lasco Development, Lasco Renovations, DMS Construction. Please, ladies and gentlemen, reach out if you ever need any hurricane impact windows or roofing services. DMS promo code. Do we have a promo code special for tonight?
The goofy guys.
The goofy guys. I
No,
love it. If
T
you
Talks.
DM
Just
us
mention
T-Talks
you saw
tonight.
you heard us on heard it on T Talk, and you definitely
10% off your next roof or window. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. And Total Source Network, your one-stop shop for all your HR and SBA and whatever whatever you
Whatever you need.
need.
Listen, we're getting this out. You know, it's going to be a tongue twister. This is the first show in how many weeks?
It's been too long.
Too long. All right. You know, just cut us some slack. We're going to be off topic. We're going to have some fun. This is Tea Talks. This is two real dudes that care and passionate about sales, training, and whatever it is we do, which is a lot.
We do. All right. So back to the hacking. How do you not become a victim of a hack? And you know, it's probably going to be the best $50 or $60 you might spend getting an antivirus,
Ever.
getting an and in your mind you need to think of, it's not the $69 or the $100 that you might pay for the year, but the amount of time that it's going to take for you to recover from that hack.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you're paying the $69 or $59, there are plenty of antivirus malware out there. Do your research, but just have one present on your computer. One of the things that is going on now is that, before, how did we get into the internet? And this might be like way before your time, but the only way you got into the internet was through, a dial-up, and whenever you wanted to be on the internet, you said, okay, let me log in into the internet. You dial, and then you connect it. Then you were connected until you were done, and then you completely, now you're
Wait,
done.
how
You shut
did
down.
what was before AOL? Was there
CompuServe.
CompuServe? That's right.
Those were bulletin boards, BBS, and I go back to the date. That's in 1988. You weren't even born yet.
That was a year after I was born. Slow down.
I actually had a BBB through CompuServe, and I was paying like 100 and something. They charge you by the minute being connected to the internet. But back to reality here is that today most people are connected 24/7 to the internet. So your
24/7.
computer, it's basically a plug right into the internet. So if you don't have a firewall or something that prevents people from seeing your computer out on the World Wide Web, then all the information you have on this computer could easily be spilled over into the internet. Now, if you have banking information, your passwords, your banking password, a lot of damage could happen if they get a hold of that information. So you want to be cautious and really do something so that information that you're connected completely all the time, that there's something shielding that. If it's not, one of the things that I always tell people is that as troublesome as it is, but when it comes to anything that's financial, that you have an authenticator, or you have the two, there's a method that you can integrate that every time you log in, it sends you a text, and with that text, you go ahead and log in. I know it might sound, inconvenient, but think about it. If somebody's trying to log in into your account and you weren't the one, and you're getting a text, and what's the first thing you should do? It's like, stop, let me change the password, and
Instantly.
somebody was trying to get in.
Close everything out, reopen it, change the password, and
Yep.
close everything back out again.
Yes. And don't do it on the same computer. Do it on your phone. Do it on another computer. But that's how you're gonna safeguard, and that's how we have every single financial information for our clients, and we have it where nobody gets in without somebody getting a text or somebody approving for you to go in. Especially look at your crypto. There was a gentleman, I believe in either in Australia or in Germany, that somebody got into his wallet and just transferred $384,000 worth of crypto from one wallet to another, all because they
Unbelievable.
got in.
And like Flynn.
And guess what happens with crypto? You ain't getting it. There's no trace of that
Mm-mm.
crypto.
Speaking about the cryptos, we were all getting having the Dogecoin nights and watching Ethereum go up. Everything's kind of leveled out. Still watching it every day, but what was that? El Salvador just picked up cryptocurrency recently. That's huge in the crypto
Well,
market. But
not that they picked up, but what they were trying to do was, and they're still trying because they have to put the legislation
yes,
within the government itself to make crypto a legal tender within the country. And the reason why they think this is going to be huge is that there's a lot of money that comes from the U.S. to El Salvador. A lot of people that work here, a lot of people that sends money to Salvador, and if they are using crypto, that transfer will be much quicker, much smoother, and they're hoping that that will also help accelerate the economy in Salvador, which is it's not one of the greatest economy in Central America.
but
All right, so back to back to
T
back
talk topics.
back to the T top talk.
See
You
how
know,
we're already getting off topic. It's awesome. It's like the good old days.
yes. So what you want to make sure also is that when it comes to your website, that it is the responsibility of the owner of the website for security. So if you're hosting your website with a hosting company and your web page gets hacked, the the hosting company is going to shut you down and say, by the way, you're not going anywhere until you clean your website. And it goes even further. It goes into, now a lot of people, once they realize that there is something that's trying to steal people's information, you're able to report it to Google. So if you ever gone to a website and a big red screen comes out and says this is a very insecure website, um, that's because you got reported, or it was found that you had malicious software within your site, and now your job is to clean it. And there are companies out there that's what they specialize, but your hosting company is not responsible for cleaning that up. That's one. Number two, your hosting company is not responsible for backing up your information. So if you paid $100,000 to do your website and all hunky dory, and they turn it over to you a year ago or 2 years ago, and you haven't updated, well, the chances are that if you don't have a backup, and you should be doing backup on a daily basis, weekly basis, any basis, but have a backup.
Should automatically be set.
It should, but again, that's not, the hosting company is not necessarily responsible for backing anything up for you.
Gotcha. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah, I hope so. So if you do backups, what will happen is the following. So let's pretend that you got hacked, right? And you got hacked 7 days ago, you didn't even know it, and you're backing up every day. That means that since last week, all your backups are bad. So you're gonna have to go back to, hopefully, when you can identify when your website or your domain was not hacked. And then you also got your emails that you want to make sure you provide backups on, because it might be easier just to wipe everything clean and then restart again. Because imagine trying to find out Now, I don't know about you, but my website, one of them has over 20,000 files.
It's a lot of
So,
files for that website.
huh?
It's a lot of files.
Well, you'd be surprised how many files you have on your website. So now you got to look through every single one to find out well which one is infected and which one is not.
It's a pain in the butt. Moral of the story is
Make sure you back up. Make sure you update your website
what's the
because
easiest Google offers? Google, was it the Google Security Suites? Is it? What is it?
the search console, the search console actually searches within your site to see if you have any malicious stuff on it. So it should be able to identify it within the first day that first or second day that it happened. But again, you want to back up. The reason why it's always good to update your website, see, especially if you have a WordPress or you're using Joomla or you're using any of these different platforms, the reason why you update, why do you think there are updates to programs
Well,
and
tell
software?
me why. Yes, and tell me how often should this occur and why. Go ahead.
All right, so the reason why there are software updates is because at one point or another they find holes that they need to go ahead and patch up. It could be security holes, it could be a bug, it could be any of those things. So with the new update, what will happen is that you will make sure that your software within your platform is up to date. And if you use WordPress, WordPress uses a lot of plugins. If you use Joomla, they use a lot of add-ins, and all these add-ins have their codes, and within the codes and programming, you can find these people are 24/7 looking for holes and see where they can penetrate any platform, and therefore they find these holes. Those holes are identified. They go ahead and write codes to help close up those holes, and then those are the ones that you need to go ahead and update it on your website. So if you don't update your website as a bare minimum, at least once a month to make sure that you're up to date, you're always leaving yourself open for a hack.
More of the story: don't get hacked.
The moral of the story is that if you haven't updated your website for the last couple years, you might want to look into getting an update because the last thing you want is people to go to your website. You're spending money on Google Ads, you're spending money on reputation, and all of a sudden, I go into your website and it says warning, warning, all in red. You can no longer if you cannot see there's deceptive information on your website. I mean, talk about first impression.
Mm. And first impression, ladies and gentlemen, is everything. Whether it's face to face, over the phone, or they're searching you through this world wide web, everything has to be in line for the universe to make its way. That's it, man.
All right, so next topic. I
Tea
think
Talk topics. We're running right along. It's good to be back.
awesome, awesome, awesome.
I'd like to take this moment to say, like and subscribe.
All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about real quick is accounting. Don't whatever you do, try not to mingle your personal account with your business account. It just creates a havoc when it comes to trying to put your numbers together, put your accounting together. Um, couple updates in regards to the SBA loans. They're beginning to release some of the funds that were back in that people that actually had applied for the emergency disaster loan. They're beginning to see some of the feedbacks coming in from the SBA
Awesome.
because they were backlogged big time with the PPP. They are auditing a lot of the PPPs, so make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's. If you did get a PPP, make sure that you have documented that you paid you paid other employees, you paid what you were supposed to get to be paid, and also you should be getting some paperwork by now if you haven't gotten it about discharging that PPP, so it doesn't become a liability to you and it gets charged off, because that's basically what it was supposed to be. It was a loan to you that would have been charged off as long as you did what you were supposed to do, which was to pay a minimum of 60% towards your employees and paying towards your rent. Paying your Ferrari ain't gonna work. Buying a house
Buying
with
a
that
new
money,
boat ain't gonna work.
buying a house with that money ain't gonna work. So make sure that if
You
you,
will get investigated.
well, right now there's a lot of investigations going on. There was a lot of fraud that took place on the first PPP. The second one, they realized there was a lot of fraud on the first one, so they were a little bit more cautious. But right now, what people don't understand is that a loan, a loan stays, as long as the loan stays open, you can go ahead and charge anybody for fraud. It's not from the time that you took out the loan, but at the time that they found out when the fraud took place. So, and this is where it's a little catchy, especially in the mortgage industry. I could have had a loan. Um, I could have had a loan 20 years ago. For some reason or another, I'm behind. They start investigating, and they realize that, wait a minute, all the information in his application was false. Uh, his tax returns are not truthful. The bank statements are photocopies, and now they can actually charge with fraud, even though the loan, the statute of limitation does not apply from the origination date, but it applies from the date that the fraud was encountered. I do have a case that, and we talked about it in a couple of shows before. If you are a retail company, a retail business, and you do collect sales tax, do me a favor. Make sure that you're up to date and you are a agent of the state and you're authorized to go ahead and collect the money for the state. So that money does not belong in your, I mean, it's going into your account, but it does not belong to you. Regardless if you're doing horribly, if you collect sales tax, you separate it and you submit it at the end of the month or whenever you're supposed to send it. The reason why is that if you don't pay and they start investigating, they can criminally charge you with that.
I hope everybody pays attention when this guy talks accounting. I know I have and come more accustomed to over the past few years of really doing the taxes. But look, it's all fun and games until somebody knocks on your door with a letter. Look, the Jersey Shore guy did the tax evasion. I heard the IRS was quiet for COVID. And they actually are starting to pick up the phone, starting to put investigations back together the past couple months. If you have any questions, concerns, I am not the guy to ask. I will definitely field your answers. If Ralph isn't available, I'll make sure he answers them, gets them back out to you. That's one good thing I had in this guy as a partner to handle those questions. He is there. He's a very informative person. At the beginning of the show tonight, he told you all his credentials. Says enough. Ralph, before we sign off on the first T-Talk episode podcast in the past, I don't know how many days, what else do you have?
I think that man, we cover pretty much a lot, but I think that last but not least, we wanted to talk about your digital presence, and why is that important? I mean, I know I know we talked about it, and you realize that they're all kind of they kind of merge together, because if your website is not up to date, you're creating a possibility that you're opening up for a hack because your software is not up to date. It's like, think about this for a second. Imagine if you bought an antivirus and it was from 10 years ago
And it didn't update
and it didn't
ever.
update.
That's not good.
So
It's an ever evolving world in technology.
imagine having a website that you bought 10 years ago and you put it there and you haven't done anything to it in the last 10 years or
It's
5
going to
years.
show up as X's and O's in black and white.
What about you haven't updated, even if you haven't updated it over a year?
Ugh.
Um,
Don't
you
have
know,
any bank account information tied to it.
so what happens in the computer world is that we have new technology, we have new information, we have new platforms, we have just better interaction that you can take advantage. There's nothing different between technology. Look at TV. You know, do you think the quality of TV 10 years ago is the same quality that you can get today?
I'll tell you what, man, they sure do make them TV screens thinner and thinner,
And it's not just thinner and thinner, but
clearer and clearer,
it's much clearer
more
and
energy efficient, more
more energy
vibrant,
efficient,
lighter.
and we can go
It's a
on and
smart
on.
TV now. The TV's a computer now. Come on, like, geez, these phones that we have, they're ridiculous. You can watch a football game on them. The digital presence is huge. That's a topic I think we're going to go ahead and continue tomorrow. Your presence, it's your store. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, this is T Talks Live.
All right. So, and then not only do you have, think of it, you know how many, there's millions and millions of websites within the World Wide Web. So there has to be something that helps you kind of put that spotlight into that little spot you have on the internet. You can either have these lights that, I love the Hard Rock. If you're from South Florida
Whew, that thing's
and
pretty.
and you look up in the sky and you can actually see the lights shining through. And let me tell you, either you're flying in or you're flying out, or you're
It's
at
awesome.
the beach, or wherever you are within the South Florida, and you look towards the Hard Rock, if you know which direction it is, you can see that light shining.
Listen, I can't wait to leave Plantation, jump on University Southbound or University to 595 East, and I'm gonna look to the southeast and see that thing blinging in light and shooting a beam into the aliens.
But
Never
you
seen
know
nothing
that
like that
anytime
before.
you see that light, that's a Hard Rock. No matter
Go
where
spend.
you at.
They want you to go spend their money. They're
That's
letting you
right.
know I'm right here, baby.
And there's
Come
nothing
bring that
different.
stimulus money.
There's nothing different when you have your real estate, because your website is your real estate in the World Wide Web. The thing is that you want to make sure that you share that real estate, you share that location with people that are looking for, if you're wanting to do have a fun time and casino, whatever, the Hard Rock, you just look up and follow the light. You don't
Tell
even
Uber
need
driver,
directions.
go to the lasers.
Just go to the laser. Well, there are things that the digital world does to make sure that your website is found. Now, think about this for a moment. There's millions and millions of websites around the world, right? And one of the biggest misconceptions that exists is that, because you throw in money into advertising, does that mean that you're going to get immediate return?
Nah.
It's a process. As a matter of fact, this happened today where any changes you make into your website, think of it as a ripple in a pond in a lake. Okay, so you take this big boulder and you throw it right in the middle of that big lake, or you throw it right in the middle of the Gulf, right? for that wave to come in and hit that shoreline, it's not gonna come in or like a tsunami immediately. So anything that you do on your website, it's almost like little ripples effect that goes out, and think of it as sound waves, okay? And the bigger the sound wave, the bigger the noise, but doesn't necessarily mean it's the bigger return. People hear you, but they might not scream back. People might listen to you, but they might not talk back. And in advertising and marketing, the power of 7 is huge, because it takes 7 times for them to see your brand in order for a credibility to take effect. That's just a human factor that regardless of you spend $100,000 or you spend $100, until that person doesn't see that thing, 7 times, it's just not gonna. They're not necessarily gonna react. And part of that website, that real estate, is creating that landscape of trust and creating. Why should I trust that company? Why should I trust that service? And hopefully you have testimonial to help the people make a decision. But keep in mind, customers, they need a little help, and that's where salespeople, one of the things that they do is they look at their needs and satisfy the need, and they're constantly trying to close. Now that you don't have a salesperson, this salesperson now is your website. Your website is having to create the need, satisfy the need, and close it. And your close is just getting that name and number, so you can go ahead and follow up. And especially if you're in the service industry, if you're selling widgets or you're selling that, you're selling this. But that's the reason why Amazon does so great with most of the products, is that they immediately. I mean, what's the first thing you look at when you're buying a product in Amazon? How many reviews it has?
Every time.
When you're trying to do an Airbnb, what do you do?
Look at the reviews.
You look at the reviews.
Reviews.
When you're trying to buy a new car, what do? You look at the reviews.
The reviews.
So you want to make sure, and if you have 5 reviews, then it might not be a good thing to start. You might want, it depends on what you're selling, whatever, but anytime you have an opportunity to get a review, try to get a review. And before they put a negative review, make sure that they, you ask them and you coach them and see, what was the encounter that they had, to see if they were maybe, they're a little confused or whatever the case might be. But hopefully you have positive experience.
Hopefully we had a positive experience. Yes, that's the key. Positivity is key. Experience. 10:43, ladies and gentlemen. This is T Talks. Please follow, like, share, subscribe. We're back, better than ever. New content, answering questions. We love feedback. Sharing's caring. Anything else? Any more one-liners? Anything else? I don't know. But I've seen dozens of people watching tonight.
Right.
I feel like Grogu did this one. The French Open on clay. I'm sorry, I'm horrible when it comes to naming things sometimes. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is fun. We've seen multiple people jump on tonight. If we were able to give somebody that information that was lasting, that answered that question, that's what we're doing it for. We're here for excitement and energy, and hey, to have some fun.
All right. 10:45.
Into ttalks.net. If you have any questions, comments, or something you want us to talk about, email us at raphael@ttalks.net or comment below. Please follow us on YouTube at ttalksnet and Facebook at ttalksnet. Please rate us and don't forget that sharing is caring. Thank you for your support. Till next time, we will tea talk later.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex DeLuca. Thank you for turning into Tea Talks, and have a good night from Plantation, Florida.
And this is Raphael from Hollywood, Florida, saying good night, good day, goodbye.